this is a special edition for E27 Unconference Singapore 2008. Well, this is Justin Lee, the founder of E27 Singapore.
Yep.
So how this Unconferencing started?
I think it's very fantastic that we've actually organized and pulled off one of the biggest events that we've ever done. This is our 5th Unconference. Our previous event was about 250 people, but this time around we had 300 people. And this time around there's a much larger selection of companies and interesting topics. So for example, early this afternoon we had an expo. We had about 15 emerging startup companies showcasing their products. And then they had a whole series of 10 startup companies doing elevator pitch. So each of them had 5 minutes to talk about what's so great about their idea and what's the potential for their idea. So that was attended by over 200 people in the lecture theatre. And thereafter we had this thing called the breakout sessions, six or seven actually breakout sessions. And I think I heard some of the discussions in some of the room were really hot. People were literally arguing, or actually I wouldn't say arguing. They were actually having very passionate discussions. I would say.
Mohan is a project director for this Unconference 2008 in Singapore, and being the leader of the group, what are your thoughts and feelings about the whole thing?
It was a big project for all of us because we tried a lot of new things. We put the team to a lot of stress because we exposed them to a lot of things that they were totally not familiar with. So in a way, right, it's I would say like it's the first time we actually had pitching session.
Okay.
First time we brought startups in, and it's the first unconference that we had in over a year. So there was a lot of expectations, and we also wanted to hit the highest number of people, and we're glad we did. So a lot of pressure, a lot of fun, but we also went through a lot of bonding together. Our own guys learned a lot, and I think it was a very, very good experience overall.
Because our audience probably don't know what E27 stands for, probably can tell us a bit about what's your opinion E27 stands for.
Okay, E27, the long form is Entrepreneur 27. It's actually an organization that's based in the Valley, and we basically are like a sister organization here. So it was a term, the number 27 is actually a number coined by Paul Graham, whereby he said that most of the successful web startups the founders are 27 or below.
Oh.
So yeah, in a way, we borrowed the concept from the Valley, we brought it here, and we did like a lot of modifications on it.
Alright, thank you very much, Mohan, for this interview, and I hope to see you more in the future.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us for the event today. Thanks.
Alright, bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi everyone, we are at the E27 Unconference 2008. Today we have a special guest with us.
Right, his name is Mr. Daniel Initaraj, who is the Director of Developer and Platform Evangelism for Microsoft. So hi, thank you Daniel for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Well, my first question for you is, what do you feel about Unconference, this event? What's your feeling of it?
So I like it. I like the energy. So when I first came here, I saw good food being distributed. A lot of energy and buzz here on a Saturday evening.
Right.
Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. Good to see it, because I think Silicon Valley sometimes started like this 20 years back. So still a long way, but I was happy to see the energy and the way we are trying to do few things in Singapore. I think it's impressive. I think we are off to a good start.
Great. So Peter, you have a question?
Yes, I do. I mean, among all these startups you've seen so far, which is your favorite company and why?
Be honest.
Okay. I'll hold my favorite because I think I saw at least 7 companies. Technically, I think a company like Home Space seems to have done a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
I'm not very sure about the business model. From a business model perspective, I think Vidgeo seem to have something, but these are early days. But I was happy to see again the energy and the hard work they have put. I think some of them have been very bold in starting.
Yeah.
I think that's the first step. Not many times I've seen in Singapore people having an entrepreneurial spirit, so I saw that across. I still don't see a lot of business acumen yet but I think it's still a good start.
Yeah, it's a good start, absolutely. So my question is, how is Microsoft helping startups innovate?
Okay. So we actually have a team that's focused on startups. And this team was initially created in the Silicon Valley.
Oh.
It's called the Emerging Business Team. Now we are taking the shades of Emerging Business Team and trying to do it in other parts of the world where there is a vibrant startup ecosystem. So if it's in Singapore, we have a Microsoft Innovation Center. Now this is a place where we get a lot of startups to get technically incubated. And this program, Innovation.Next, that you have, this is a program by which we get to startups, we technically enable them. We have a global startup program that gives them access to technology. We have a venture capitalist network regionally and globally that we can introduce startups to. And we do go to market where we take some successful startups and introduce them locally, regionally, globally to the customers. So what do startups need? They need access to technology, access to people, access to market, and finally, they need to be successful in business.
Right.
We help them be technically enabled, have a product, access to market. We give them access to people, venture capitalists, and finally the regional and global markets.
What's your question? Do they have to use Microsoft product?
Well, first, let's look at from a technical point of view, what is our caliber? We are all focused, we all have skills on Microsoft technologies. But then, we do not need every startup to have everything on Microsoft, but at least they need to have something on Microsoft. They can, we definitely, today's world, it's all about interoperability. And we have a lot of technologies that are interoperable. So if they use something of Microsoft, something of other technologies that are interoperable, that's great. But the key is we need them to be innovative. We want them to be innovative and have something unique that can allow them to do to the global market.
In your view, how Microsoft is doing to protect this data from being corrupted or stolen?
Okay, so security is a very broad word. Yeah, the first thing about security is less technical and more about something called trust. If you trust me, you don't care about security.
Yes.
Yeah?
True.
You'll give me a wallet because you trust me. So the first thing that needs, yeah, if he has one, yeah. So first part is about trust, which is more about emotional, which is about how we build our trust. Technical problem is how we deliver the trust. That's a technical part. So lot about security is about misconceptions about and emotions about trust.
Okay.
The second part, which I think is a lesser part, is about the technical side. However, for example, we have been running Hotmail now for more than 15 years.
Yeah.
All the emails that are stored, do you trust that Microsoft is keeping those emails secure? Okay. We like to tell you that it's secure.
Yeah.
The question is, do you trust us?
Yeah.
Okay. So Hotmail is a classical case where we have a lot of data, and it's more about how can you trust us to keep the data. There are technologies, coming to the technology part, there are technologies that we're working on called identity management. There are technologies around card space that allow you to do single sign-on, that allow you to do single sign-on across multiple operating systems, across multiple systems that are not necessarily Microsoft, so that you log on once, your identity is stored across all websites, all operating systems. So those are some technologies that we are working on, and we are trying to make sure these technologies works on cloud computing. But as I said, this is just a technical bits. I think technology is much more secure, but do people trust? I think that's a much more important question.
Peter's just a really insecure person, that's why.
Right. Well, Daniel, thank you very much for today's time, and we hope to see you next time at any kind of conference.
Yeah, I enjoyed my time here, and I hope I see many such conferences and many such startups coming.
So Peter, do you trust Daniel?
Do you trust Yahoo?
We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Depends. If it's photo, I trust them.